And welcome to another exciting episode of the In-Game Boss program and the podcast itself. I am your host, Jeremy, a.k.a. your retroactivist, a.k.a. your in-game boss, a.k.a. Man, Final Fantasy is coming in strong for this guy to hear all that. Man, let me tell you, like, after the Square Enix conference, which we're going to be talking about, we have quite a lineup coming up. But I can't do that alone. I got my other person joining the party, Juron.
Yes, a.k.a. the Evil of Aku, a.k.a. the Grumpiest Bears, a.k.a. Damn, it's hot.
It is hot.
That heat dome is whooping ass. And $5 a gallon gas, I'm not about that.
Yeah. With every $5, I can be eating some fast food with that. I'm just kidding.
That's a combo meal.
That is a combo meal.
A combo meal.
Should they add a drink to now every time you pump a gas past $5? Maybe every $10 you should get like a free can or something.
If you're going to 7-Eleven, you might as well spend 64 extra cents and get yourself a icy or something, or a fountain drink.
I've been getting back into those. I haven't had ices in years. I've been kind of getting back in those. That and root beer floats. I've been getting back into those.
Icy, Slurpees, all that stuff. I would like a root beer float, but I don't know. I couldn't make them at home. It's not the same. It's not the same as going someplace that gives you the frosted mug, the thing of vanilla bean ice cream, and you kind of eat the ice cream, but you mostly just suck down all that root beer. Yeah,
I roll with it. I got a mug I can freeze. Do it at home. So it's not gonna be like the professional way, but damn it, I had it most of my life, so I could take it in any form. Yeah.
Well, it's such a rich treat. I save it for when I'm out and about anyway. Just
So Final Fantasy 16 is coming out in the summer of 2023.
So far
do we know. But then winter of 2023, we get an announcement of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is coming out around the winter time, which, so you're looking at, I guess, like between December to March, probably, per se, around that time. People are probably automatically thinking Christmas probably next year. But
they said winter 2023, so it's got to be in December.
Well, the initial winter is December, January, and February. So it can come out early.
They did say a year.
They said next year? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they did say 2023. So we got a release window. Yeah. Which is good.
Wait a minute. No. If I remember, we look at the video, I think it said next winter, not next year. I believe so. You can quote me. You can check. But I'm pretty sure it said next winter.
Let's see. They said, while I check, they also did confirm that the Final Fantasy VII Remake series is going to be a trilogy. So 3 games, 3 discs, just like the original game was 3 discs.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, there you go. I thought it was going to be something like that. Yeah.
And available next winter. Okay.
It is next winter.
So you're right.
Yeah.
So people are already saying, 2023 is like, no, it might be February 2024. You don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I hope it's 2023. Doesn't even matter. It's coming out on the PS5 only. I don't even have a PS5 yet.
You got time.
Maybe there'll be more available next year. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Video cards are they're falling out of the trees now, but PS5 still hard to find.
Yeah. So like I said, it could be December, January, February. We don't know. So it could be really 2 years off, technically. So
who knows?
But Rebirth. So we don't know. So the theories are out there. Is this the game that's going to change the timeline? Are we going to get the story changing in the middle of this one? So just to put it out there, I have not touched Final Fantasy VII yet. I haven't touched it yet. Got too many backlog games till I get to that point. You have and played it. Does Rebirth excite you?
I'm excited from the standpoint of cool. It's episodic. It's like I want to find out what happens next. It ended on a very interesting note, and it got me. It gave me that Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi feeling. It's like, oh man, what's going to happen next? What's going on next? I don't know if anybody else can really place that first feeling when they first saw Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, oh, what? But yeah, it gave me that feeling. So I'm not like, reacting like a bunch of other people where I'm crying but I'm just like, hey, all right, cool. Let's go. I guess I got to get me a PS5 now, mm-hmm. So if nothing else, that game, if no other game, will move units.
Yeah.
Move PS5 units if you can find them.
Yeah. Definitely take advantage of bundling that, like special editions and stuff like that.
I would love to see a PS5 special edition, but that's the reason we haven't seen any PS5 special editions for anything yet, because good luck finding a regular one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see if they did a PS5 special edition of God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West. That'd be cool if they did, or Spider-Man 2, which might be coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this is going to be it's going to be weird. This is going to be the make it or break it of how people feel about this series / I'm still going to buy it anyways.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to buy the next one regardless, because I want to see where it goes. But I hope that they really take a risk on an idea, especially the Aerith part. I hope they throw people sideways of this. I don't think this game should be by the number, regardless what people say. I think that they need to do something different to kind of change it up for the experience. For people that probably don't, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, well, I mean, you got time now. But there is a situation that's coming up about Aerith that we believe is probably going to happen in this one per se, based on the 3-disc way, or they could save it up towards the end. I don't know. But it'll be exciting to see what new characters are coming in, what characters are going to be out for a little bit, how the flashback's going to be with Zack based on the preview. But overall, it does look good for what it is. And sadly enough, yeah, you're right. It is going to be PS5 only, which, they should just hold back the first one and just put it out. But then again, I understand. I mean, you got to put it out where most of the install base is. So I get it. It's a double-edged sword, because you have to do another one regardless of for that edition.
They made buku bucks on the PS4. Then they did the integrate for PS5, and they made money on that. And today, actually, they dropped the integrate version on Steam, so you can play it on the PC.
Right.
So they know they're going to make they're going to make their money. It's not going to stay on PS5, because PlayStation's been putting more and more of their games to the PC. But it'll probably be on PS5 for probably a year, maybe a year and a half, and then they'll drop it on PC.
And then on top of that, there was some updated news that they are already working on kind of working on the third one, the final one.
Yeah.
Which that excites me, because it's like the faster they get through this, the faster we can move on and see some other games per se. I'm not being a hater. I'm just more of, there's just a lot more Final Fantasy games or more Square Enix titles that I wish can get kind of more notice. And I know all their work and all the developments going into these Final Fantasy games. They're more to the bread and butter. So
yeah,
that's probably why they sold off.
Yelling.
That's probably why they sold off Tomb Raider and Deus Ex. It's like, the extra money can go to Final Fantasy. Let's put that there.
It could. I mean, or line the pockets of some shareholders. But,
but what I would argue that this will 2023, if Final Fantasy VII does come out, it will be the first year I can remember where 2 major Final Fantasy titles will be coming out the same year. So
yeah, it's. I mean, I'll put it this way: I am with you on. I want them to get through this. Like, don't rush it, but do it. Get it done, because my girl yelling for a Parasite Eve remake or remaster, probably a remake. That would actually be interesting. A Parasite Eve remake, especially if they combine the first 2 games or whatever. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And of course, the name Rebirth, they're going with the pattern. The third one, Revengeance, Reed, Final Fantasy VII Reed. I don't know. I have no idea. But
how about Relief? Relief that you guys did this.
Final Fantasy VII Release.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's doing the whole Kingdom Hearts complicated storyline thing, but it's still at least somewhat coherent.
Yeah. So on top of that, during the showcase, which we're not going to talk about everything because it was only 10 minutes, we also got an announcement for Crisis Core that is also getting a remake from the PSP edition, which that's the one I think is the only one that's coming to Switch for the Final Fantasy VII library. Because that was interesting.
It's not even Cloud on the Switch, but I mean, you don't have to play it with an internet connection so far.
Yeah. So, well, graphically, that game looks like it's not too up like Final Fantasy VII Remake is, per se.
It's above the PSP, way above the PSP, obviously.
Yeah. So it works on there, but I think it's an interesting choice to put it on there because they don't even have the other sevens in there, or at least the remake cloud base or something. So, like, it's a strange idea. It's almost like Persona 5 Strikers. You got Persona 5 Strikers on there, but not Persona 5.
They got crumbs.
Yeah, so even Final Fantasy 15, they got the phone app edition of Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch.
Pocket HD or whatever.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm happy for Switch owners, but at the same time, it's like, why? Like, now, could there be a possibility of maybe like a downgrade version of 7 Remake on there? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it'll come to Switch too later on. I don't know.
I'm not going to hold my breath. The thing is, I understand why they're doing Crisis Core Remake and releasing it, PS4, Steam, PS5, Xbox, Switch, all that stuff. It's because the game came out on the PSP, and aside from, remaking, I don't know how much they're remaking, like if it's from ground up or not, but they don't have to put the same, I guess, fidelity into it, so they can run it on whatever. And who knows? I mean, I could speculate. Maybe Sony said, "Hey, we want timed exclusive on this game."
Yeah. So
you're putting out this, but we want timed exclusive on that.
So you were kind of happy that got announced. I played Crisis Core, and apparently you played Crisis Core. Did you enjoy Crisis Core?
It was okay. I think it was more the story I was wanting to follow. But from what I saw from the scene of the remake, it looks like they basically just copy pasted the combat system and said, "Here you go." Mm-hmm. I mean, which is fine. The combat system from remake 7 Remake was fine, and I think putting that into Crisis Core and having a better control scheme, an improved control scheme, is going to make the game even more enjoyable to new people.
Yeah. Did you like the slot thing with the numbers? I wasn't a big fan of that. It is what it is.
Hell no.
It's in there. So, yeah. So they're not changing. They're not changing too much, but yeah, it's in there. So, yeah. I think the difference though is compared to the PSP one. At least you're not getting a pause on a screen as you see these numbers add up. Per se. Now you're seeing it's more fluent that it can happen as you're playing. You don't have to go to extra screen for that moment for all the stuff matching and whatnot. So maybe they could have a bit of an improvement on it. But I guess it makes sense so you guys can just, not basically close this Final Fantasy VII book with everything it has. Now you got everything again. Like, you got the remake, all this stuff. Does that mean there's a Cerberus is coming? Oh, God, I hope not. But
probably not. It wasn't that popular.
Mm-hmm. But they could do this like, well, we could try to redeem it. We could try to redeem it. So maybe we get Capcom on it.
They could remake the mobile version of the game when they did that whole celebration of Final Fantasy VII back when they had Advent Children and stuff come out. Mm-hmm. They had the PSP game and they had the mobile game, and they might do that. Or they my theory that they're still going to tie it in somehow loosely to Advent Children. It's still there. That could still happen.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to add to anything else stood out to you? Any thoughts, other concerns?
For the whole Square Showcase or just Final Fantasy VII?
Just these two titles.
Not really. I mean, we saw information about 16. They gave more information about 16. That's cool.
Do you think the game? Okay, I have one last question. Do you think Rebirth is going to be longer than Remade?
I think there's a potential for it to be to feel longer. I think there's a potential for it to feel longer because you are out of Midgar, you're going on a journey, different places, I'm expecting you to be going on a journey, different places. Um, but so it'll feel longer. Now, whether the content in it matches or not, I couldn't say. But I would think that since they have the engine down, they have the assets, they will do integrate, and pop that out like 8 months or almost a year later. I think this will be a little bit longer because they're able to pack more content into it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
What about you?
I think so. Since this is the middle act, I think that this is where we're going to get more characters coming in. I mean, we got Cap Sith that could show up. You got Sid that could show up. It just depends how long their story is going to be, especially Sid's part. I think that there's probably going to be more options in towns that you can go to because here's the question too: is this game going to have an open map, or is this going to be straight down the road? Based on the trailers, it look like we're just going down a road. I don't think it's going to widen this map where everybody can walk around and do stuff. I think it's still going to be like a pathway because I think it has a transition between Zack's story. We're going to get this that's another thing too. We have the flashback story, I believe, that happened in the second act of Final Fantasy where Tifa and Cloud are having that unlocked backstory of what happened. If correct? Am I right on that?
Yeah. After they leave Midgar, they go to Calm, and they're like, all right, who's the Sephiroth character? What's the significance? And Cloud tells his...
Yeah. So is there going to be gameplay in that flashback story? We don't
did get to play as Sephiroth, or control Sephiroth in the original. So
yeah, or will you play with Zack? How does all that... Hopefully, if they do it right, if they do have you playing Cloud through that flashback, hopefully the experience you get that will cross over to the experience back to the present. Does that make sense? So you're not just playing that experience with no gain out of it, because it might as well be then just a cutscene.
Well, here's what's also interesting. The Crisis Core, which is supposed to come out this year, it looks like they're going to be making some changes to line it up more with the remake and Rebirth.
Okay.
So, I mean, they may put Crisis Core may be a backdoor method of introducing some additional concepts.
Right.
Of what really happened and what's up with Zack and all that other stuff. So who knows? I look forward to seeing how they explain some of this stuff. I hope they don't get Kingdom Hearts weird with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I look for. I've become a story person. I play games for good stories and good experiences. You know, so if it's telling a good story, I'm on board.